the daily activities of a tree. As you can see, our tree doesn't like to move around much. In fact, like most other plants, it spends its entire life at one spot, which means that it's stationary. So this tells us that cells in a plant tissue are supposed to be highly supportive. That means that they provide a lot of mechanical strength. Now, one important fact to note here is that most plant cells are dead. Take a moment and try to guess why plant cells are dead. Well, the reason for this is that dead cells can provide the same amount of structural support as live cells, but they do not require any nutrition or energy to stay in place. Thus, plants have an advantage in having dead cells over live cells. Now, in case of animals, we know that animals remain constantly in motion. They could either be in search of food, water, or shelter. Thus, they require to have live cells that allow this motion. But a disadvantage of having live cells is that they eat up a lot of energy. Now, let's take a look and compare the organ systems and organizations of plants and animals. Here, as a plant, we have taken the example of a tree, and as an animal, we have a human being. In the image on the left, in the plant, you can see that the system of organization is not very complicated. In fact, the main functions of a plant involves transportation of water and nutrients from one part to the other, and that is basically what the tree does. In the image on the right, in case of the human being, you will see that the system of organization is far more complex. You can see many different organs and even more organ systems which comprise and perform specific life processes. Thus, you can see that the system of organization in animals is a lot more complex than that in plants. Another major point of difference between plants and animals lies in their growth pattern. The growth pattern in plants is non-uniform, which means that there are certain tissues at certain spots in plants that keep on growing throughout the plant's life. On the other hand, there are some tissues that stop growing once the plant reaches a certain size or a certain age. In case of animals, the growth pattern is a lot more uniform. Take, for example, a human being such as yourself. You start growing at the point of birth and continue to grow in size until you reach a certain age, after which your growth